Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today is Wednesday, and we are on our episode number 420. I am standing in front of a stunning backdrop of the San Francisco skyline, and welcoming me to appreciate the backdrop is Sridhar Iyer. I'm sorry, Sridhar. Of course, he's an Iyer too. Sridhar Chityala ji. Sridhar ji, namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel.
Namaskar and good morning to everybody.
Sridharji, first off, there was an incident that took place on December 9th. I'm a little confused whether it was 2022 or 2021. This was in Tawang area in Arunachal Pradesh. And can you walk us through what happened, how the United States helped India thwart China, sir? Take it away.
So this is 2022. If you recall, we had covered this in DGI as well. The news was reported well after December 9th. There were skirmishes that took place between the two sides, and both sides suffered minor injuries. And India successfully defended its position, and the incursion was thwarted. This is by the PLA, and then, of course, the flag commanders hosted white flag, and they appeared to ease the situation. It's now come to light through an interview that was held at the White House, where when Defense Department official James Kirby was in the session, he was asked the question, did United States defense or military provide specific information as it pertains to thwarting this attack? And he said he can't comment, but it appears that not only very clear positions of the LAC, across the LAC, the PLA guys moving in, very clear satellite images were provided, which helped India in terms of thwarting this incursion. This is not the first time this has happened. United States has helped even in the Galwan, and has also helped going back to the Doklem during the Trump years. It's wonderful to see such things have happened, notwithstanding the fact both sides have not reacted to the specific report.
Thank you, sir. And let's take a quick look at markets before we jump to the other important item about withdrawal of security outside the United Kingdom consulate building in New Delhi. We'll come to that in just a minute. Sridharji, looks like, touch wood, looks like the banking sector appears to be stabilizing. The stock market went up quite a bit yesterday. All the stocks are going up. Why does this appear like there is calm now? Do you think this is going to last, or are we on the verge of another one? Just looking at what's happening around, sir.
Well, I think the Janet Yellen has issued a statement, which is to say that they will not allow the contagion to spread at the back end. At the back end, the depositors will be protected. That's the first. The further capital infusion and advice that has come from JP Morgan to the Republic Bank. There seems to be growing support for providing liquidity for the regional banks. They probably will extend the quantitative easing rather than quantitative tightening, which will prevent any kind of withdrawals, creating an imbalance in the balance sheet for the banks to sustain itself. Clearly, Fed and Treasury have not acceded to the request that the regional banks have proposed, which is for a period of 2 years to guarantee all deposits, not just the FDIC restricted, and they're prepared to pay the additional insurance cover if it is warranted. It will require changes, and I think at this stage, both the Treasury and Fed have declined. So the market seems to be satisfied that there is a back-end cover, and hence the banks will be able to, especially the regional banks, will be able to sustain. Obviously, this is back of the Credit Suisse UBS deal that also implied that the central banks will intervene, Sriji. So this is the reason why the markets have reacted positively.
Thank you so much, Sridharji. And viewers, Switzerland and the Swiss and the world, in fact, is getting used to dealing with just one bank. The Credit Suisse is now going to be UBS for all practical purposes. But I'm also hearing that many countries have kind of stepped in a little bit to help shore up the deposits in UBS. We will give you the data as and when that becomes available. At this point, just assume that things are becoming better, getting stable at the UBS also. Now let us take a look at the other important data item, which is that India has withdrawn security from the consulate of United Kingdom in New Delhi. Many of you may not know this, or may know this. There is an enclave for all embassies in New Delhi called Chanakyapuri, and in Chanakyapuri you will have all these big estates where every country has its own consulate. Unlike the Indian consulate in London, which is essentially on the road, these enclaves are very well protected already because they are well set inside with a ground and perimeter and things like that. And it is outside that perimeter that India usually posts its security guards. Those have been removed. We don't know what is happening inside. At the same time, it is the responsibility of the host country to make sure that its guests are well taken care of. Why am I saying all these things? First of all, Sridharji, you talked about what you are thinking, sir, because I'm going to share a stunning video of what played out on Sunday in the Indian consulate at San Francisco. Sridharji, first you and then the video, sir.
Well, I think two data points. There are barricades which is outside, which prevents people from as a front line. Those barricades have been removed. I don't believe the security personnel inside the embassy have been removed. There's also barricades outside the High Commissioner's house that's been removed, but I don't believe the security personnel have been removed. But both sides have not commented on this. There seems to be a lot of undercurrent on the political side, why this is happening and why UK, which seems to have, at least the present government has a strategic relationship with India, is involved, or whether this is all to do with, as you probably know, London mayor is from the Labour Party. Apparently, one of the political leaders from the Congress Party has met the Labour leader, James Corbyn, in UK as well, and for which the Congress Party retorted that Modi has also met the same leader. So the question is whether the sequence of events have happened, post these meetings. We can't comment. It seems to be a lot of to and fro. But the fact that this incident that you are alluding to has happened not only in UK, but it has also happened in San Francisco. There is an attempt to burn down the embassy there, and India reacted by saying, if you're going to do this to us, and we'll do what we can do to make sure that you understand the implications. But they have not gone full carte blanche in terms of removing the security. That's what I understand, Sriji.
Viewers, I have done so far 3 videos about the incidents that have been taking place outside the Indian consulate in San Francisco. I'm going to share with you something that played down on Sunday. And I don't know whether it was before or after this event that the same miscreants tried to set the consulate building on fire. Here you go. So I hope you've seen this. Now, let me tell you, this building is not a very big building. It's a very compact building. And if you set fire to the building, there is a hospital on to the left. As you look at the building, there's a hospital to the left. If this building had got fire, what would have happened to the people in the hospital? And what is the United States government doing about it? On Monday, there was a statement at the Department of State. They said that we are going to take care of it right away, and that there are going to be diplomatic corps who can essentially address the situation. Now, this is the vagueness. Is the diplomatic corps a separate group of law, or is it something where they can tell the San Francisco Police Department to act more, efficiently and effectively? Now, what happened was yesterday I put out another update, and you can see there that there was a tent. There were two tents, as a matter of fact. There were some people inside that, and there's just one lone police car. That was it. And today there are going to be again demonstrations outside the consulate, and we are going to try and bring you what is going to happen perhaps sometime in the afternoon today. Everybody has a right to protest, but you have to protest peacefully. And what are you protesting against? The arrest of Amritpal? That guy is still out. What I just don't understand, Siddharji, the logic behind all these things. And to burn down the consulate building, there is video proof that is coming. Okay, so don't say, oh, there is no proof. This is all BS. I don't agree that. I will give you the proof. It's not just there today, because we are waiting for the Department of State, which is obligated to provide security to the Indian consulate building. The area inside the building, from that barricade on, that is India's property. That is true of every country, every consulate. So this has to be addressed correctly. And we are waiting to see what the San Francisco Police Department is going to do today, if anything. So we'll wait and see what happens. Sridharji, your comments, sir, and then we can go on to the next item.
Well, I think it's astonishing that these incidents are unfolding, particularly in the United States. Canada and UK has been hotbed of these types of protests one has seen, but this is coming to United States, and there's been no statement from Department of. There's been no comment from the State Department. Remember that both the federal as well as the state, in the case of California, is by the Democratic administration. And it's just it's interesting to see that there's not been much press coverage, even locally within United States, for these incidents. And obviously, the Ministry for External Affairs has taken up the matter, and one remains to see whether this is going to trigger most unwanted or unwarranted incident, which can really put things into a territory which is not most desired, especially when the present administration is trying to build a strategic partnership with India.
Yes, sir. And there have been tweets even from Jake Sullivan about this, condemning the incident. But that is not going to cut the ice. There is more that is going on. And unless you go show the law and order presence in force, and you enforce the law and order, what about all the people in the hospital? What if it had really caught fire? So I think this is serious. That's what I'm trying to say here. Innocent people's lives will be lost. What was the fault of the Indian consulate employees? What did you want to do? Do a Chauri Chaura now, 100 years later? I mean, it's appalling the way these people are thinking, Sridharji. And I might also add...
Sriji, California has also been big defund police movement. As you know, that there's been a lot of robberies that has happened in downtown San Francisco with very limited to no security. It's almost like freewheeling and dealing, people coming in at will and taking things and going away. So I think people in the know-how have triggered this, recognizing there's complete or inadequate security right now prevalent in many of the democratic ruled metropolitan or urban cities, Sriji.
Well, like I said, we have to wait and see what happens today. Sridharji, let's take a look at the Japanese Prime Minister's visit to India. We all may have seen that one Pani Puri session where he really loved it and he wanted some more. I mean, Pani Puri is an acquired taste. It's not easy to, just if you're not used to that strong, it's different. That's all I can say. But beyond that, there has been an invitation for Modi to attend the G7 meeting in Japan, and he has, I believe, accepted. Sir, will India be a full-fledged member this time around, and the G7 will become G8? Your thoughts?
No, I think it's been first and foremost. I think that it was a tremendous meet. Both sides demonstrated warmth, and I think demonstrated that they have a shared agenda in terms of way to shape things and move things forward. And Japan again stood up and supported the Global South initiative that Modi ji is spearheading, and I see great movement in progress towards the global south as a platform that Modi will lead jointly with Mr. Kishida. As far as the invitation to G7, it was extended invitation as we have covered before to the prior G7 meetings, which reflects the growing importance of India as a player of strength and stability and an important country, a nation for global security. So he warmly embraced. He has been speaking very proudly that India is the chair for G20. So one never knows. There could be a surprise, and my belief is, based on the information that I have, they may offer India the G8 membership, but let's wait and see.
Sir, the new word doing the rounds is Global South. This is something that we've also touched upon a couple of episodes back. What exactly is the definition of Global South, and how is India sort of spearheading and showing the way?
The global south comprises stretches all the way from the African continent, going across Indian Ocean into South China Sea and into Pacific. So it covers all countries going from stretching from Africa down into the Pacific Islands. So that's the south. What Modi ji's objective is, Indo-Pacific is very restrictive in scope. South China is very restrictive in scope. NATO is very restrictive in scope. Quad is very restrictive in scope. It's very important to bring small nations, which are pivotal in terms of preserving economic security, enforcement of rules, and also factoring in their own financial needs and so on. So there needs to be a mechanism that brings in all these nations, and many small nations from Pacific Islands to South Asian nations and to some of the African nations have endorsed and supported this specific initiative. It recognizes the smaller nations. I think this is where you're going to see Modi ji winning, including he has support from ASEAN and he has also support from EU. Let's wait and see what United States has to say. But many small nations have said this is the way to go because you are recognizing the importance of us. For example, Sri Lanka is one of the nations which supported, and as you probably know, India stood behind Sri Lanka during the economic crisis.
Viewers, we will take a few questions today. I'm kind of shorthanded a little bit, so I'll do my best to try and field the questions. But there is a fair amount of stuff still to cover, and I request you to please like this video so that it gets the maximum coverage possible. And Sridharji, the next topic is about rates. The Fed is meeting today. Do you think they are going to raise the rates again? And I'm also seeing that ECB might also follow suit. What do you think, sir? 0.25, 0, or 0.5?
My prediction was 0, but I probably belong to a minority. There's only about 3-4 institutions. I believe that Fed is little reluctant to pause. They will say we are going to increase by a small 25 basis points. As far as the flight of deposits are concerned, we have already given the cover that would be protected. So my thinking is that they would do a 25 basis point hike, though I would think that they should. My proposal would be hold, let the bank, give the banks the time to rebalance their balance sheets, assess before you start your hike, because of course inflation has to be brought down, and it's Fed's belief and the ECB's belief that only the rate hikes is going to solve this problem.
Now back to India news, Sridharji. India has declined Emirates' request to increase seat capacity by 50,000. And I can see why, sir. India has started investing big, at least Indian companies, Air India, for example, as well as Indigo. They have bought, they are at least getting a whole fleet of aircraft. And the idea is to try and, make India's own industry more robust. Beyond this, why do you think India said no to Emirates?
I think that what India doesn't want is um, retain its commercial interests, retain the expansion plan that India has in the aviation side. As you all probably know that they have tremendous plans to increase the capacity. India has ordered a significant amount of fleet of planes, both medium to long range. So it has its own agenda to carry its passengers because it sees an important opportunity from a commercialization point of view. It doesn't want to leave that option to other carriers, most notably those which are near shore. So what it has said to Emirates in this case is, look, we have given you enough capacity. We are not going to allow further expansion by 50,000 seats per week.
Now let us take a look at United States news. The United States Border Patrol says that they have stopped 1 million illegals from entering into the country since the beginning of the year. Now, Sridharji, the Title 42 right now is in cold storage, right? So there is no way legally these people can be allowed in. And is this going to continue, or are the Customs and Border Patrol going to get a little bit more aggressive? Where do you see things going, sir? I mean, you can also give us an update on what's happening in Manhattan hotels.
Well, FY23 starts from 1st October 2022 to March 30. That's about 1 million. And no, I don't see any let up because there's no change from Mayorkas. He has asked for additional money. He has been summoned by the new House committee. And let us see how it pans out. But right now, the borders are porous, and we have again shared in DGI, more and more people gushing in. As far as before we get to Manhattan, many urban or many metropolitan cities now are seeing all these homeless people emerging as squatters in places like Portland, Seattle, New York, DC, Atlanta, Minneapolis, etc. So this problem is going to further exacerbate, and there is nothing being enforced in the border in terms of prevention. And if it happens with whatever little force that is prevalent at right now, that's what you're saying, but otherwise the borders have remained porous. As far as New York is concerned, most of these people who are in Manhattan have refused to leave their hotels, so they have to be hosted. There is a marquee McDonald's right in Times Square. The mayor, Eric Adams, is working on remodeling that and making it into a semi-permanent or permanent shelter for these people. So very soon, Times Square may be a hull for all these illegals, the way things are going. And we are incurring a cost of about $5 million a day to host, support, and feed these illegals who are right now in Manhattan, as far as the Manhattan question is concerned.
Sir, this played out a year ago, and yet the population of America still voted the Democrats back in, especially in the Senate. What gives, sir?
Well, they want the Democrats and the white Democrats, the nation, voted to have this type of an architecture within the country. So this is what we pay. This is what we elected. This is what we are getting, and so we can't regret. It's a democratic nation. This is what we chose.
You get what you wish for.
What we aspired, Sriji. What we aspired for.
Sridharji, yesterday was the day that Donald Trump was supposed to have been arrested. That did not happen. And now I'm hearing that it might happen next week. Why the delay, or is there a problem?
Well, I think that there are two issues that they want to continue to interview. There's another witness that is being interviewed as one. There may be backroom political pressure that is going on, but our Manhattan District Attorney is hell bent on arresting this gentleman. So there's probably security preparations that are going on as well, because President Trump has basically said, called up people, which is to say this is an election stunt. It's a political stunt. There's no legal basis for this. So my belief is that the arrest is imminent, because they want to make sure that that their symbolism is reflected. They couldn't do it through January 6th. They couldn't do it through Russian interference. So they found this to be a tool. But this is going to be knocked back once this indictment is done. Then there's going to be, he will take it to an appeals court and get it withdrawn.
Sridharji, now I'm hearing also that the United States Congress is beginning to think that China is no longer a neutral party in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And let's say that they pass a resolution to that effect. Do you think sanctions might be imposed on China for its support overtly or covertly to Russia?
Well, no, they won't be. What they will continue to put more sanctions on Chinese companies and Chinese businesses which have inward interest in United States. Now, when they do that, we're again going to have supply chain issues on critical items. Let's wait and see. Thus far, all the sanctions which they are focusing on as regards to China is around critical technologies that impact the national security of United States and its neighbors. Thus far, okay. Whether they will extend that further, time will tell.
Sir, the next news item is Biden signing a bill to declassify intelligence on COVID-19 Wuhan lab leaks. And like clockwork, Mr. Fauci now says that he was wrong.
Well, I think that there's a lot of pressure. So they're going to declare what is obvious is obvious. And, this, again, a political stunt, which is to say, hey, we declassified it because it's now coming out. Two of our own departments did research, which is the energy and the FBI. And we thought it's appropriate now that they have corroborated. And that's the political stance that the Biden administration would take, having defended it, because they defended it because they wanted to get all these kind of measures, restrictions, shutdowns, masking, mandatory vaccines, all the things that we have that has played out in the past 2 years plus, Shriji.
On the ongoing meeting, I think that has concluded now, between Xi Jinping and Putin, Ukraine was discussed, and looks like there has not been a consensus. I read the statement that came out of that meeting. I'm still not sure that China is saying Russia keep going after Ukraine, or if China is saying slow down, or if China is saying we'll help you. Where do things stand?
The way I summarize the meeting based on what I've heard and what I with the people whom I've spoke with is, it's like two desperate parties trying to find an ally, find a common ground, so they can put up a united front against United States. The common enemy is United States. So within that context, they met. I don't believe Vladimir Putin will accede to any peace plan, notwithstanding the fact he welcomed it. So he had the opportunity to meet Xi. And he was firing away both at the Donetsk region, at the Bakhmut region, as well as now the drone attacks have been launched in Sevastopol, Crimea, as well as into Kiev, and which prompted Ukrainians to say, I don't think this man wants peace. So therefore, what is the peace proposal? So to that extent, it's an embarrassment for Mr. Xi Jinping. Also, apparently on the trade deal, it is limited in terms of the agreement between the two countries. It probably is restricted to maybe 2030 timelines, and where China will buy energy from Russia. And Russia may say, I've already got 2 or 3 key players, most notably India. I don't need you, China. So, and which is one of the reasons why, they tried to do this deal with, facilitated by Qatar with the Saudis. Qatar supplies gas and Saudis provide the oil. It remains to be seen what will happen to the security arrangements that Saudi has with United States as a result of this deal. So overall, if you look at it, this is just a meeting that occurred, but I just don't believe it achieved the strategic objective. It probably did the strategic objective of partnership in terms of putting a united front against United States. Obviously, the Chinese are supplying ammunition and machinery because they want Ukraine to lose.
Sir, one small topic before we go from here. See, China is trying to say, okay, I don't really need you, Russia. I can get oil from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But that pipeline, that looks like a pipe dream. The reason is it's going through some of the most hostile neighborhoods. And also, the meeting that has taken place is not like the heads of Iran and KSA getting together and agreeing. It is something like a security level, like the NSA, like Doval and somebody from the other side meeting together and discussing something. Should we read too much into that, sir?
I think I mentioned this to you. The KSA China deal is a hodgepodge. It's not going to be successful. Saudi Arabia has got a number of strategic investments in assets in United States, including large corporations. The security apparatus for the oil fields is provided by United States from across Bahrain and within Saudis. So the whole issue is the Democrats have got a problem with Khashoggi in terms of its murder, and they want to kind of open it up, which President Trump's administration said it's your matter, you kind of deal with it. And they signed that West Asia Accord, which brought peace, which brought all the nations which were at fight together, most notably Israel. So my view is much more water has to flow under the bridge in terms of what China is going to achieve with all these parlays that are going on, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Qatar on that front, and Central Asia on the other front, and some of the meetings that's taking place in the Pacific, and of course, most recently now with the Russian meeting. Everything is like Xi Jinping trying to say, I'm going to cut across the relationships that the West and some of the other nations have, and to see what I can get out of this. And at the end of the day, time will tell, how successful he is going to be on this mission. Clearly, Russian mission was not successful.
So the Russian Prime Minister Medvedev has a strange request. He wants hypersonic missiles launched at ICC. What is ICC, sir? And this seems like now Russia is broadening its, attack.
International Criminal Court, ICC, in Hague. Okay, so it's not International Cricket Council, which is your favorite topic, Sriji. So therefore, ICC issued the arrest warrant because of allegedly war crimes committed by Putin, and Vladimir Putin had a laugh. ICC cannot enforce anything. They tried something with Uyghur, with China, nothing happened. So what the Russian Prime Minister says, Russian Premier says, Mr. Medvedev, okay, we'll do hypersonic missiles against this Russian ICC court, and then we'll take it out, and then there'll be no ICC. So this just basically tells you the status of the so-called peace proposal.
And now we are taking a quick look at Southeast Asian news. Taiwan is getting ready, even though the president is on a visit. They have made all their plans. Philippines has spread its United States bases across the country. And the last line item, sir, and you can weigh in on this. North Korea continues to fire missiles off its east coast. And this is the best part. This guy seems to be, on his own trip, sir. And I'll let you summarize, and then we'll take a couple of questions.
Well, I think the Philippines is a very important decision, which means they are looking at. Remember, Philippines is one of the countries which also has got BrahMos missiles. They have been, playing around with it. We covered this incident where the supplies to particularly the Scarborough Shoals Islands, and right in the middle there is Philippines Army supplies were stalled by the Chinese. So they're preparing themselves, and they need to have they strongly feel under the Marcos regime that they need a security footprint. So they're spreading that across. As far as Taiwan, we covered this. They have got a contingency plan just in case China exercises any kind of aspirations when the Taiwanese president is visiting United States, especially California and New York, and to Europe before she heads back. As far as North Korea, we covered this before. I think North Korea is the proxy, is playing around with various toys, and in case there is an accelerated program to attack Taiwan, then the Chinese will summon their allies, North Korea, to be a good source of distraction as well as to create damage around that area.
Just a couple of quick questions, Sridharji. Dinesh Kumar says that I purchased a book using your app. The reader application integrated requires a dark mode enabled. I can't read ebooks with white background, and there are no option to give you feedback. Dinesh Kumar, you can send the feedback to me, sree@sreeiyer.com. And we'll make sure that we respond to you. Also, there may be an update you can download, but first of all, just give us the details and we'll take care of it for you. No worries. Thank you so much. And the next question, sir, for you. Do you see any Indian banks which can face similar issues such as SVB, and does Indian banking system have structural advantage when they are more conservative compared to the United States?
Now, all I can say is that, again, I mentioned this before. I'm not an expert on Indian banking system, but what I have heard and what I have seen is that especially around the deposit taking ability, Indian banks and Indian systems seems to be just as I think I would say same with some of the other nations like Australia, Singapore, etc. They are far more disciplined in terms of allowing deposits and very clearly running the Riot Act in terms of what qualifies under protection, what doesn't qualify under the protection. But based on the information that the Indian government and the Indian banking system is talking about, is that they're far more stable relative to what SVB has experienced. SVB case is much case of negligence and wrong prioritization, lack of risk controls within. So it's a case of mismanagement by SVB. I just don't know. I mean, I won't say that it is such things don't happen in banking system around the world. It happens all over the place. But Indians are saying they're far more well organized.
Raghunandan wants to know, USA cannot identify that they have been lasered from space to one of its naval bases by China. Recently, they discovered that China was behind it. Sir, your view on it?
I don't have any data to comment, sir. So therefore, all I can say is that we have had in United States a number of attacks, including EMF. We have had on gas plants, on some of our nuclear stations. So we have had a number of attacks, which all is suspected to be from either China or Russia. Yes, the United States is exposed, and barring that, everything else is under covers.
Mr. Lee wants, so this is the last question, sir. What do you make of Robert Kiyosaki alleging that Yellen will only bail out banks with Democrats on their respective boards?
No, I mean, banking system in United States is inundated with Democrats. So therefore, where she's going to stop and where she's not going to stop. So I think most of the banks are inundated, if I have to use the phrase, having, again, spent considerable amount of time in United States banking industry. So, I think that my answer would be Janet Yellen has demonstrated, notwithstanding she is a Democratic nominee, she's been with California for a long time. She's demonstrated fair amount of equanimity in conducting her affairs rather than being very political. So I think all she is saying is she has very clearly not yielded to any kind of what you call um, uh, support of the system or coming up with austerity measures. She's basically saying, if there is a flight of deposits, we will provide back-end support. All she's saying is that they will open up the back-end window for the banks to borrow money against their assets, because quantitative tightening happened rather than quantitative easing, so which helps the bank to borrow and shore up the balance sheets in case there is a flight of deposits. That's all she's saying.
Thank you so much, Sridhar ji, and that was a wonderful session. Viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. And one small thing while I have you here, viewers, look at the bottom right corner of your screen. You will see a lot of icons: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram, and then Koo. And all of those things, our handle is at pgurus1. In any of those platforms, if you happen to be a member, we request you to subscribe to our channel so that you will get the updates as and when they occur. If you want to follow Sridhar ji on Twitter, he has at @Chityala, Chityala. You can follow him on Twitter because Twitter gives you the most immediately happening events. So thank you once again, Sridhar ji, and we'll be back again on Friday. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you. Have a wonderful day or have a wonderful evening.